Good morning and welcome to another episode of Morning Tea Talk. It's me, Miss Ruby. Welcome to my channel. I'm in the middle of getting ready for my day. So, yeah, please excuse me because I'm going to be getting ready while we have this discussion. Thank you to everyone who is subscribed to my channel, who has their notifications turned on, who is joining me for Morning Tea Talks every day. We're almost done. This is the last week. With my Tea Talk yesterday, I got a request to talk about avoiding dead-end relationships or how to beware of dead-end relationships. And I thought that it was a really good request. It's something that I like to talk about all the time anyway. So yeah, we're just going to have this conversation. If you guys have any questions, any comments, please leave them so that I can see them. And we're going to get started. So say what up if you're here. Hey, Cece, how you doing, girl? Hello, hello, hello. Yes, I'm getting ready. I have a long day today, y'all. A long day. So, let me just tell y'all, my hair is curled. Like, my curls are here, but they're like days old. So I'm gonna just try to like, just put my hair up in a ponytail and then just kind of like spritz the curls a little bit and hopefully just make them look not too bad. So forgive me if I'm not really looking at the camera because I kind of got to look in the mirror because right after this I have to try to go. So anyway, avoiding dead-end relationships. How many of you guys have felt like you were in a dead-end relationship a time or two? I know it happens. Brandy, hey, what's up? Brandy, are you the one who, wait, yeah, wait. Were you the one who left? No, wait. Did you leave the comment, the request? No, it wasn't you. It was someone else. I don't know. Yeah, I forget. It was either you or somebody else who watches the videos constantly. So anyway, let me tell y'all right now, I feel like it's real easy to get caught up in a relationship that ain't about nothing. But when you stay in a relationship that ain't about nothing, and to the extent where it becomes dead end, you've already been in it for too long. So I'm always trying to caution people about how to identify that. So first and foremost, I think the best thing that you can do going into a relationship is to know what you want. Because when you don't know what you want, like that saying, when you don't know where you're going, any road can take you there. So if you don't know what you want in a man, any man will do until he just doesn't do anymore. And I'm talking to ladies, okay? So I guess I would say the same thing for fellas. If you don't know what you want in a girl, then any girl will do. And if you are only operating off of feelings, then you're setting yourself up for failure. I strongly advise not to go based off feelings when determining your relationship choices, okay? Especially when you're in a relationship that you fear is like going in the direction of being dead end, then you really need to put your emotions to the side and you need to really think logically. That's what I strongly recommend. These are all tips for avoiding dead end relationships. Now, there's nothing you can do to 100% safeguard yourself from getting into a relationship that may not lead anywhere. I mean, you can do your best to discern based off past experiences. Like, hey, typically when I get with men who are somewhat conceited, doesn't really work for me. I have an issue with that. And down the line, like, it's cute at first, you know, that it seems confident, you know, it seems like they just, you know, appreciate their blessing. But down the line, I start to find that our personalities just don't click. For whatever reason, I don't know what that is for you. You know, like for me, I have to be with someone who is creative and someone who can like really for real make something out of nothing. That's one of the things I look for. If I can't be with someone who you know, it gets defeated all the time. It's such a turnoff to me. I have to be with someone who's somewhat of a go-getter. Now, he doesn't have to be someone who feels like he's on top of the world, running the world, nothing like that. I don't, you know, actually, I caution myself against dudes like that for me personally, because those type of men sometimes can be a little haughty and a little full of themselves sometimes, and so focused on conquering the world, balling out of control, being the best at whatever it is that they do all the time, that they have no humility. That's what I find a lot of times with men like that. So I caution myself against men like that. Our personalities just don't click. Maybe he's too dominating and I'm too dominating and we just clash. So you just got to know what you want. There are a lot of things that we want, and it's okay. Like, you don't have to want the same thing that other people want. You don't have to want what your mama thinks is best for you, what your girlfriends think is the cutest. Like, you don't have to want that. Like, for me with my husband, I found that I was really, really attracted to his personality. I was attracted to his conversation. The fact that he could, that's another thing that is a must-have for me, is like, you got to be able to keep me stimulated with conversation, and it can't be surface level stuff either. Like, I like to go deep, and if you can't hang, then it's just not gonna really work. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, these are all just this isn't even the point of the conversation, but ultimately go into the relationship first and foremost knowing what you want. And if you've already been in a dead-end relationship, someone who is not providing what you are looking for in a mate, and then you find yourself fighting against, each other all the time, trying to be satisfied when neither of you really are fit for one another, then take those lessons as cues of things to avoid when you're going into your next relationship, okay? So start there. Hold on, I'm looking for yeah. So start there. Let me look at y'all comments real quick just to see. God, if I knew then what I know now about relationships, okay? It's so much stuff to look out for. But it's top of my list, his character and his conviction. Okay, I feel you. So easy to get caught up in hard. That hard part is when your heart is so deep into it and not easy to walk away. The sad part is when you're not taught to look for signs. Exactly. That's kind of what this video is for. Like some people ain't really taught to look for signs. So the topic of this video isn't really like things to look for in a dead-end person. That's really kind of hard to judge anyway, because people go through stages in life. So it's hard to kind of say like what to look for, I guess, to avoid the wrong type of person all the time. Although I think I did a video about something like that. But although that does exist, that topic does, it is something worth discussing. But like, I'm talking about like, you decided to be in a relationship with this person and how to avoid ending up in a dead-end relationship, So, ooh, that looks pretty. Look, I just revived this one curl. Let me see if y'all can see. It's kind of hard to see. But anyway, now I feel like I got to go through and revive all of them. But anyway, so avoiding dead-end relationships, or beware of dead-end relationships. First and foremost, know what you want. So if you get into a relationship and your core values are not met, so you already know that you really want somebody who's Christian, or you really want somebody who values hard work. I don't know, you want somebody who respects their mama, whatever it is that you want. You get into a relationship because he's cute, or because they're cute, or because they got money, or because they said something to, tickle your fancy. And they did that enough times. You guys built your relationship based on these things that are really have nothing to do with your core values. They're surface level stuff. You're already setting yourself up for failure, because most times you can't change a person. Now, I'm not saying people don't change, because they do. We do change. But very seldom does someone else change the person. It usually happens when we are ready to change. And so when you find that core values are not met, that's one of the things I looked for in my husband. My issue was that he didn't have a lot of the surface level attractive features. He was cute, but he wasn't like fine popping. Like, he didn't carry himself like that type of dude who was like trying to be cute, and you know what I'm saying? Like, the fresh everything goes. Like, he dressed nice, and he had nice hair, but I could tell by his demeanor that he didn't carry himself as somebody who was trying to be bomb and popping like that. So that kind of was like something I had to work past, because usually I'm used to being captivated by a man who presents himself as someone who wants to be attractive, smelling good, acting flirtatious, looking good. My husband didn't have that, right? But what he did have was patience. He wasn't trying to rush me into bed. He wasn't trying to rush me into a relationship. He wasn't trying to rush me. That was important to me. Patience was a core value for me. I needed someone who was willing to be patient because I wanted to wait till marriage to have sex with him. Now, we didn't do that. But the fact that he respected that, that was a core value of mine. So anyway, seek to have your core values fulfilled. I'm telling you, this is a way to avoid so many unnecessary things in your relationship. A lot of times I see people end up in relationships because someone is catering to their insecurities. And that's kind of dangerous. If you're insecure about how beautiful you are or like how pretty you are, or like about your weight. Let me see. I feel like I didn't phrase that initial statement right. Someone is catering to your, how do I say, the masking of your insecurities. Okay, so you're insecure about how you look, so you cover up with a whole bunch of makeup. You get in a relationship with someone who loves how you look with makeup. That's dangerous. Because ultimately you want to be with someone who loves how you look without it, because you're insecure. Now, if you're not insecure about how you look and you wear makeup just because it's fun to you, then that's not as big of a deal. If your man or if your man likes how you look in makeup, it doesn't really matter one way or the other because you're not insecure about how you look. So I'll find women who are really actually insecure about being used as sex objects. Sometimes that's how we feel. We feel like the only value we really bring, or the greatest value we bring to a relationship, is our sexuality. And so then you find someone who wants to have sex with you all the time. But deep down, you wish you found someone who could love you in every other way beyond sexually, because that is what ultimately is what your heart desires. And so when you don't understand what your insecurities are, then you don't really know how to seek that out in a partner. So take that tip. So you get into this relationship, right? And then you find that he's not actually catering to your needs. He's not catering to your wants. Then you ask him to change, or ask them, let me stop saying him, to change. Hey, I really don't like how disrespectful you are when you talk to me. Hey, is there anything that we can do? Can we get counseling? Can we sit down and talk about this? All of your efforts to improve the situation are not being met. There's excuses, somebody never making time, blaming you, someone who always just blames you. These are things to look out for, because there are people out there with personality disorders. There are people out there who are really, what is that word? Somebody help me out. It's the word that basically describes a person who is like, I don't want to say into themselves, but narcissist. There are people out there who are really narcissistic. We are all a little bit narcissistic, but there are people who have like narcissistic disorders. It's very difficult for them to see past their own ideals, their own opinions, their own assumptions. These people exist. There are a lot of types of disorders out there. You know what I'm saying? And so when you get into the relationship and you find that your attempts to make compromise with that person to meet halfway, they're never being satisfied, but the person is turning around making you feel guilty about you making that request. That should never be the case. Say, for instance, you're actually making a request that legit is a request you shouldn't be making. Like, I don't think that you should ask someone to change their religious preferences. Like, you can inspire them if you want. You can invite them to church with you. But to completely ask them to go against something that is of value to them, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just think that that's kind of a little bit over the line, right? But if that person responds like, honestly, we see differently on this. How about I respect you, you respect me, let's figure out how to work from there. Some sort of response like that, that's a person who's willing to meet you halfway. But a person who's just like, why would you ask me that? You're evil. Just tearing you down. There are going to be things that you have to ask for in a relationship, compromises that have to be made. And I find that when I look at other people's relationships and I see that one person is just totally uncompromising and the other person is too compromising, to the point, not only are you willing to make compromises to meet halfway, but when that person is not willing to meet you halfway, you go the extra distance. That is a sign of a dead-end relationship. That's not going to work. Down the line, you're going to get your heart broken over and over and over. You're going to feel trampled on, stepped on. You're going to feel overlooked. Eventually, you're going to just feel so unloved in that relationship that you're not going to want to be in it anymore. And even if you are in it, it's going to be dead. Because one person is living and the other person is completely dead. You guys have to both figure out how to keep each other afloat. You know what I'm saying? And I see that a lot of times in relationships. Somebody tell me something too. I'm looking at you. Yeah, narcissist. Thank you. I dated narcissist and I'm an empath. It's painful and dangerous. Yeah, I have heard of, empaths with narcissists. I mean, that's empath. Narcissists are, what is that word? I'm sorry. I'm so distracted because my baby's been crying for a long time. It's okay, Mama. Let me just pick you up because you are loud. Hold on, y'all. But yes, they, narcissists are very attracted to empaths. I know, Mama. She's got a stuffy nose and I have to clean it. I'm sorry, Mama. They prey on empaths. That's what I was trying to say. Okay, baby. Hey, you sleepy baby. Sorry, y'all. So I guess she's gonna be a part of this conversation. And I guess Mommy's not getting ready anymore because I have to. You sad, baby. So yeah, so that's one of the things I would say to look out for: an uncompromising person in a relationship. Sometimes you hurt one another, right? Here is an instance that can lead to a dead-end relationship. When two people love each other, they match, they're compromising, they work. One person makes a really bad decision, like decides to cheat on you or decides to steal from you or decides to do that one thing that you always expressed as something that you just can't accept. And they do it. And then you guys maybe break up for a minute or you have a big fight. If you cannot truly forgive that person and move on from that situation, you are setting yourself up for a dead-end relationship. Some people can forgive. Some people can hurt one another, forgive one another, move on, never do it again. Or at least try to never do it again. You never really know what somebody's doing behind your back. But some relationships can do that. I can say that I'm in a relationship like that. Me and my husband have both done things to each other that were very, just for some people, unforgivable and hurtful. But it's not something we practice. It's not something we continue to do. It's something that we each had our moments before we were married, and we realized through those moments that it's not worth sacrificing our relationship in order to spite one another or in order to please ourselves, in order to have our cake and eat it too. We both decided on different occasions, but for the same reason, it's just not worth it. So we do what we need to do to keep ourselves from doing those things again, repeating those actions again. So I remember I had a good friend tell me, when it happened to me, that he's like, honestly, if you can't forgive him and truly forgive him, like, that means don't hold it against him. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Throw it in his face. The kind of things that we do, when someone hurts us, they ask for our forgiveness and then we can't really forgive them. If you can't do that, and if the other person can't do that, if you're the one that was on the, if you're the one who was, who committed the crime, you guys are going to be in a dead-end relationship. I've seen that so many times. Two people who love one another, but they can't get past their hurt. They can't get past the fact that you could do that to them. And then what they end up doing a lot of times is internally giving up on the relationship and then just doing everything to self-sabotage. To sabotage the relationship without ever saying it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, next thing you know, you guys can't even decide on pizza because the argument seems like it's just about pizza. but it's about something so much deeper. It's about the fact that you never trusted them to begin with. You never trusted them to make a decision, a good decision for you to begin with. You know what I'm saying? Like, you think that you just arguing about what you having for dinner, and y'all really constantly arguing about the same issues in your relationship. And the reason why is because neither of you have really fully figured out how to forgive one another, how to let it go, and how to move on. And that's a process. It's not something that's easy to do. So avoid dead-end relationships by, if you find that you're in that situation in your relationship, and you can read through the lines and you can tell this person is still hung up on these insecurities, then, hold on, I'm sorry. She's hungry, y'all. And my husband, he's just gonna have to get woken up because I have to finish this video. Here you go, babe. Thank you. I should have woke you up a long time ago. If your man ain't willing to wake up and help take care of the baby, you probably in a dead-end relationship, because that's going to get on your nerves after a while. Ultimately, listen, the video is going on long. I actually want to, like, sit down, think about this topic, and actually, like, create an actual video that's, like, to the point where you guys don't have to, like, hear me ramble in between. But ultimately, know what you want before you get into the relationship. If you find that you end up in a relationship where you're not getting what you want and you're with someone who's uncompromising, that's an issue. If you're with someone who is holding on to things that you guys have said you were going to move past, but clearly they haven't moved past, or you haven't moved past, you're probably in a dead-end relationship, or you're setting yourself up for a dead-end relationship. I honestly think that these are the key points. I feel like most everything else we can discuss is going to fall under the umbrella of these things. Let me know, because I'm going to end the video soon. I did. Okay, so I just wanted to see if anybody was commenting about anything in particular that I could chime in on. But yeah, I would strongly recommend that you guys look for those things first and foremost. If you're in a relationship that's not growing, it's dying. So just keep that in mind. In any relationship, friendships, whatever, anything that's not growing is dying. And sometimes it dies slowly, and a little part of you dies with it. And what a dead-end relationship ultimately is a relationship that ultimately ends. Relationships are going to go through their ups and downs. You guys are going to have your trials and your fights, your issues, but it's about how you come out of those issues. Do you come out of them restored and better? Do you come out of them broken, battered, bruised, and left disillusioned? Do you come out of your issues feeling like, I don't know where to go from here, and I don't know if this is going to work? And then finding that you're only staying in the relationship because it's convenient, or because you don't know if anybody else will get with you, or you're staying in the relationship because you're scared to get out of the relationship. Maybe that person scares you. You're staying in the relationship because you have commitments, you have kids, you bought a house together, you have, you share a car. You're staying in the relationship because of this person's promises, even though they've had many opportunities to come through on their promises and they never have. Or maybe they have once, that one time that gave you hope, but every other 15 times they didn't. Like, you're staying in the relationship because of doubt and all of these really dangerous things. Probably in a dead-end relationship, not always because that person, but sometimes because of you. Sometimes you're allowing yourself to be fed junk when you know that you really need some organic protein. And eventually you're going to get so sick and tired of being sick and tired that you're just going to cut them loose, give up, or do something radical, or do something crazy, and wish that you would have never wasted that time. So I strongly advise you to get really honest with yourself, spend some time with yourself, and be willing to do the thing that is tough. We talked about yesterday pain, but pain being purposeful. And sometimes you have to allow yourself to just feel the burn and feel the pain of whatever it is you're going through, and know that it's leading to something that's better for you. So we're going to do this again, okay, y'all? God bless you. Thank you for joining me on T-Talk. Turn on your notifications, subscribe to my channel, share this video. God bless you. And leave your comments and requests below. All right? Bye.